Yes. Good evening. I would like to call the regular meeting of the Milton City Council for Monday, November 3rd, 2025 to order. The city encourages you to review tonight's agenda carefully. Each citizen who chooses to participate in public comment must complete a comment card and submit it to the city clerk prior to the agenda item being called. While the Milton rules allow a speaker to turn in their comment card up until the clerk calls the agenda item, once the agenda item is called, no more comment cards can be accepted. Will the city clerk please call the roll and make general announcements?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'll be happy to call roll for the November 3rd, 2025 regular meeting. I would like to remind those in attendance to please silence all cell phones at this time. As the mayor mentioned, if you would like to make a public comment, you are required to complete a public comment card prior to that agenda item being called. If you've not submitted your cards yet, please do so now. Demonstration of any sort within the chamber is prohibited. Please refrain from any applause, cheering, booing, outburst, or dialogue with any person speaking. Anyone in violation may be asked to leave. Mayor and Council, as I call roll this evening, please confirm your attendance. Mayor Peyton Jamison.
Here.
Councilmember Andrea Veerhoff.
Here.
Councilmember Juliette Johnson.
Here.
Councilmember Carol Cookerly.
Here.
Councilmember Jan Jacobus.
Present.
And for the record, Councilmember Doug Haney and Councilmember Phil Crammer are absent. Mayor, you do have a quorum. Would everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, next is approval of the meeting agenda. No executive session, correct? What? No? Okay. I would like to open it for a motion to approve the meeting agenda.
Make a motion to approve the meeting agenda as presented.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion from Councilmember Jacobus and a second from Councilmember Cookerly to approve the meeting agenda. All in favor, please, or please place your votes. Okay. That motion passes unanimously. Okay, we'll next move on to general public comment. Do we have any general public comment?
Mayor, I do not have any for tonight.
Okay, so I'll waive the public comment rules and I'll please ask you to call the next item.
Mayor, we'll go right into the consent agenda. That first consent item is approval of the October 20th, 2025 regular city council meeting minutes. It's agenda item number 25288. Our next item is approval of a recreation provider agreement between the city of Milton and the Atlanta Petanque League to provide leagues, classes, and tournaments at Bell Memorial Park. It's agenda item number 25289. Our next item is approval of a recreation provider agreement between the City of Milton and Candy News Camps, LLC, to provide recreational theater programming. Agenda item number 25290. Our next consent item is approval of a master services agreement with Eddy Communications Corp. It's doing business as Eddy Alexander for marketing and public relations strategies for the Destination Deerfield Initiative. It's agenda item number 25291. Our final consent agenda item is approval of an audit engagement letter with Malden and Jenkins LLC to audit the city's financial statements for the fiscal year ended September the 30th, 2025. It's agenda item number 25292. Mayor Jamison?
Thank you. Do I have a motion on the consent agenda?
Make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as read.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion from Councilmember Verhoff and a second from Councilmember Johnson to approve the consent agenda as read. Voting is now open. Please place your votes. Okay, that motion passes unanimously. Okay, we will now move on to reports and presentation. Will City Clerk please say on the first item?
Mayor, that first item is a proclamation recognizing November the 11th, 2025 as Veterans Day. Mayor?
Thank you. Tonight, we take a moment to recognize the men and women who have served our country with honor and dedication. We will always remember their sacrifice, and it is my honor to present this proclamation to those who have served. Whereas November 11th has been special for Americans since a pact ending World War I was signed on that date in 1918 on a railroad car in northern France, with the first Armistice Day taking place in the United States exactly 1 year later. And whereas legislation in 1954 reframed and renamed this national holiday as Veterans Day to salute veterans of all wars who have contributed so much to the preservation of this nation. And whereas this is an annual opportunity to celebrate millions who served courageously in the U.S. Army, Navy, Marines, Air Force, Space Force, and Coast Guard for their fellow countrymen. And whereas through their hard work, bravery, and sacrifice, these men and women have been instrumental in making possible the rights, lifestyle, and privileges that we Americans enjoy today. And whereas Milton is blessed to be the home to many outstanding veterans who have contributed positively to our society in war times and peace before and after their time in service. And whereas we invite them and their loved ones to the city's Veterans Breakfast on the morning of November 8th, featuring good food, great company, and retired U.S. Army Colonel Richard White as the event's keynote speaker. And whereas the following Tuesday, city offices will close in honor of Veterans Day so that grateful people in Milton and beyond can better honor America's servicemen and women. Now, therefore, we, the mayor and the city council of the city of Milton, recognize November 11th, 2025 as Veterans Day in Milton while expressing our profound appreciation for these noble, difference-making veterans. This is given under my hand and seal of the city of Milton, Georgia on this third day of November of 2025. I know we have Bill Lusk and Nick Satriano here with the Milton's Veterans Memorial Markers. If y'all want to come up and any other veteran, we'll take a picture. Oh, come on down.
Yeah.
Or I can also send this to you.
Here you go, Bill. You can add this to your collection. Go for it. How do you want- is that good?
Yeah, you're pretty, yeah, that works. 3, 2, 1, and then hand it.
If you don't mind, thank you. Awesome, thanks.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Good stuff.
Hi, Nick. How are you?
Yeah, I'm just gonna, I have your email. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Probably by tomorrow morning you'll have it. Yeah, sure, thanks.
Okay, will the city clerk please stay on the next item?
Mayor, that next item is discussion of the State Route 372 at Birmingham Highway operational and safety improvements. Deputy Public Works Director, Rob Del Ross.
Good evening, everyone. Just 1 second while my presentation comes up. Good evening. So tonight we'll be giving you an update on this project, State Route 372 Birmingham Highway, the operational and safety improvements that we discussed last February. You see a quick agenda on the screen. This is an update for you because we're ready to advance to the next phase of the project. So we've completed concept and traffic analysis. We're ready to launch into engineering. We wanted to show you where we are and what we've accomplished to date. So why do we have a project? The next 3 pictures show you the conditions that we are trying to solve. So this is pictures from 2022, but is representative of what we still have to date. This is right outside City Hall looking north. If you can see my cursor, Starbucks is right here where my arrow is. This is looking north. The elementary school is right here. Middle school is further off the page. This is the congestion along 372 that happens every 20 to 30 minutes. Every morning that school's in session, especially when it rains, it's even worse, that we are trying to solve as a result of this project. Next picture rotates 180 degrees. This is now looking south from just past the elementary school driveway. You'll see the line of cars at the roundabout extending beyond the circle. This circle being jammed is the number one problem that we are trying to solve, primarily from a public safety perspective. We're very concerned that if there were an emergency that police or fire needed to respond to that would have to go through that circle, that they wouldn't be able to. And then last picture, this is further north up at Kensington Farms, looking south at around 7:30 in the morning, the long line of cars trying to get through, some going to the elementary school, some just trying to get further south on their way. So a quick background of what we've done to date. February 5th, 2025, we hired NV5, a local consulting firm that worked on conceptual design and traffic analysis for us. I'm lucky to got two representatives from NV5 in the audience with me if there are any questions for them about the details of the traffic. What makes this project unique and a little complicated is the fact that it's State Route 372. So we're working with GDOT. Everything we propose needs to be approved by them. We're also working with Fulton County Schools. So they own the eastern side of the private property along this stretch. So we are very in tune coordinating with their staff as well. Like I said before, we're trying to deal with high levels of congestion, primarily in the AM. The PM is congested. The AM is worse. So we're very confident if we solve the AM that the PM will fall in line. We're also, in addition to solving some of the congestion issues, we're trying to approach this from a couple different perspectives. We're going to be proposing some widening and some additional lanes for cars to be in. But as part of that, we're also trying to make it easier and safer for families who choose not to use a car, who choose to walk or bike or use golf carts to drop off their children at school as well. We've collected a lot of traffic data and done traffic analysis to try and improve safety for all users of the right-of-way. We're going to reduce some of those long lines of cars and queuing along State Route 372, enhancing public safety and access and mobility, providing additional pedestrian accessibility to the schools. And we are limiting our project to primarily the right-of-way based on our coordination with Fulton County Schools. They don't have the budget or ability to do many of the improvements on their side, which is why we're focusing on the right-of-way. Next, this is a concept layout of what we presented at the public back in September. I have a better quality graph if you'd like to dive in and see some of the details on this, but I'm going to step you through. South is on the left side of the screen, north is to the right, going south to north. What we're talking about here. We're proposing 2 additional mid-block crossings to get pedestrians from one side to the other. Where my cursor is, one closer to the elementary school and one further north, approximately where the new houses are going in, further north on 372. We're proposing wide trails, 10 feet wide, along the eastern side of 372 going north. Past the elementary school through to the middle school. Then we're crossing it to the other side at the Kensington Farms entrance, running a wide trail from the Kensington Farms entrance further north on 372 up to the Six Hills entrance. This would provide safe passage for anyone using a golf cart from Six Hills all the way down 372, all the way into Crabapple Market and Heritage and the area around City Hall. In addition to that, we are going to be designating on the state route 2 safe golf cart crossings that by code you would be allowed to go from the church parking lot over to the elementary school driveway, as well as from Kensington Farms into School Drive, which is Fulton County Schools. So to summarize everything in word format, mid-block crossings and golf cart crossings, improved bicycle, pedestrian, and golf cart access, additional pedestrian connections. I did not show you that. We're throwing a additional pedestrian connection where my cursor is from 372 behind the commercial area. If you see my cursor, that area in yellow, that would provide passage for pedestrians, bicycles, and golf carts to get from 372 to Heritage without having to go through the roundabout. From the trail on 372 via a trail out to the parking area, if you see where my cursor is. In addition to that, we're going to have a new northbound right turn lane along 372 approaching School Drive. So that is starting here. If you're familiar with the corridor, there's a right turn lane that dumps into the elementary school driveway. We're going to be extending that all the way to the right turn lane that currently exists approaching School Drive. So it's an extremely long right turn lane that will get cars out of the through lane into that right turn lane. We're also providing lengthened left turn lanes into Kensington Farms going north, as well as approaching school as the Crabapple Crossing Elementary School driveway going south. We are also providing a new left turn arrow for the left turners going into Kensington Farms, as well as providing more clarity and an obvious area for cars to U-turn at the signal. Based on our public involvement and public outreach, that's been a concern of Kensington Farms for a long time. We are happy to be able to include that in the project. That will help the vehicles more safely make that U-turn into heading south on 372 rather than going into the subdivision using the local roads and then coming back out. Lastly, a much longer dedicated southbound left turn lane approaching School Drive. This southbound left turn lane approaching School Drive, as well as the southbound left turn lane approaching the elementary school driveway, are both approximately double what they are today.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yes.
And can you go back to that slide? So the southbound turn lane that goes, that is there for Crabapple Crossing, currently they're not allowed to turn into Crabapple Crossing heading southbound. You have to go all the way through the roundabout, come around the roundabout, and then turn in heading north. Will that change then? Will they be able to turn left into the school?
So we're going to be coordinating that with the school and with our police officer on site. We showed this to the school and they weren't opposed to it, but I anticipate more discussions on that in the next couple of years on whether that's going to be operated that way during rush or not.
Okay.
I can add to that. The reason that we don't allow right now is because it backs up. With
Right.
that queuing left lane, there should be sufficient room there to allow them to make the left and keep the traffic continuing southbound.
Okay.
Would that be a fair statement?
That's a fair statement.
Okay. Thank you.
Coordination with GDOT, coordination with Fulton County Schools throughout the summer. GDOT staff is on board with our concept. Fulton County Schools is as well. Of note, we do have one requirement with Georgia DOT that you'll see reflected in our contract that we'll be bringing to you later this year. Typically for locally funded projects, we're able to escape a lot of their requirements on this one due to it being a state route, due to right-of-way being purchased. Even though we are locally funding this and locally delivering this, there are additional processes, hoops that we're going to be jumping through as part of that. It's called Chapter 11. It's one of their relatively new permitting processes that we're going to be following for this project. Summarizing public outreach to date. So we had an electronic survey that Communications helped us with in August, asked the 3 questions that you see on the screen that I'll let you read for pause here for a second. We received approximately 40 responses. Most respondents stated that they drive to school or live in this area. Common answers for top concerns being safety for children, the congestion in the area and traffic flow, and school accessibility. And some of the most frequent suggestions for solutions happily line up with a lot of what we're proposing tonight: extending turn lanes, better pedestrian access, potential for pedestrian bridges, adding golf cart paths, and looking at school access along School Drive, potentially over to Freemanville Road, and changing some of the patterns there as well, which we did not look at as part of our project based on the request from Fulton County Schools. We had a public information meeting, in-person event here at Community Place back in September. 12 attendees, primarily from the Six Hills subdivision. I'll show you a picture here a second. We had several residents ask that were very supportive of the trail that we were proposing down to Kensington Farms, but wanted to make sure where that trail was located and whether it was impacting their wall and trees behind the wall and private property in that area. So specifically, we're looking at this wall, and this is looking south. This is where my cursor is. This is the through lane of 372 headed south. This is just kind of extra pavement. This is an acceleration lane for residents of Six Hills to merge back into 372. So the advantage of this extra area is we're going to be able to remove the asphalt place the trail basically where the sidewalk is today, where the back of the trail is going to be the back of the sidewalk. That wall isn't touched. Anything behind the wall, therefore, isn't touched. I don't even think the fence is going to be touched. So it's to us, very minimal impact, taking advantage of that extra pavement there that's going to be repurposed into more of a wider trail instead of that sidewalk
Excuse
area.
me, are you saying, you said remove the asphalt, do you mean the cement? I'm not sure I follow.
So the curb, where the curb is now, the curb is going to be further away from the sidewalk. Some of the asphalt's going to go away.
Okay,
We're going to be increasing the area between the wall and the road, and that's going to be where the trail is.
what's the approximate cost of the golf cart improvements?
Say that one more time.
What's the approximate cost of the golf cart improvements?
I don't have that offhand. I'm sorry. It's a wider sidewalk. Typically, sidewalk we would build concrete at a 5-foot width. A path to be used for golf carts on a state route would need to be 10 or more. So we're proposing 10.
Okay, how would you characterize, how many linear feet of golf cart path are we talking about?
From Six Hills
Or just
to
improvements in
Kensington
general?
Farms.
Just
Sorry?
improvements in general on the golf cart. How much?
If I had to throw out a number, I'd say less than $1 million, probably several $100,000. If
Okay.
we're just talking that extra width of what concrete would be going from 5 to 10 along the corridor,
How is this being funded, Rob?
through T-Splost. Last slide for tonight, quick schedule update. As I said, we're ready to based on feedback tonight, we're ready to move into engineering on this. Following that Chapter 11 process, we expect engineering to take a couple of years, 2028, moving into right-of-way acquisition and construction in 2029. That concludes the presentation. Open to any questions and discussion.
I thought you were going to start this summer.
I'd love to start this summer, Mayor, but unfortunately, dealing with the state DOT is
And there's
Thank you.
zero funding on GDOT on this?
zero
Okay.
funding from GDOT,
Got
zero funding towards construction from Fulton County Schools. They have stated that they're going to work with us on the right-of-way acquisition component.
I know the sidewalks and trails, that's always kind of been in the plan per se. It's just the traffic backup I know is an issue, so it makes sense.
They are very happy we're
Yeah.
looking into this and addressing this, but no, there's no funding on their
Okay.
side.
Rob, one of the problems I see is that, which isn't on that stretch, it's the circle. And I'm not sure if I understand the law correctly or not, but isn't it against the law to pull into a circle when it's full? In other words, is there a way to stop some of that log jam on the circle? Because it seems like people are starting to get a little disrespectful there, and they're cramming in, and then it creates this log jam where nobody can move.
Yeah, I mean, that's a problem in other roundabouts.
And so is there anything we can do? You've got to smile, so maybe you've already looked into it.
There is, and we have been. City manager knows where I'm going. We have been for the past couple of years, specifically for our public safety access. We have had an officer there, along with signage, doing whatever we can to keep that circle as open as frequently as we can. It's a difficult problem to try and enforce and to keep it flowing.
I think the do not block the box campaign at a regular four-way stop light situation has been a pretty effective campaign. People know they'll get ticketed if they sit in the middle of it.
Mhm.
So can we do anything like that?
Of course. It's going to require human intervention,
Yeah.
behavior
Good
modification, and
question.
potentially some marking out there, so we don't
Yeah.
have to be out there every day.
Yeah. And then the people just get rude.
Yeah, it's a good thing you brought up. Thank you.
Any other
Thank you.
questions? No? All right.
Great,
you.
thank you.
Thank you. Okay, will you please call the next item?
Mayor, that next item is discussion of the conservation easement at Birmingham Park. Our Public Works Director, Sarah Leaders.
Good evening. This is a discussion again on the conservation easement at Birmingham Park. And this will be one of the final discussion points before we move ahead with the agreement. So it's really to discuss those final terms, a follow-up from the October 6th meeting where we first talked about the terms, and we're going to review some of the Milton Equestrian Committee's feedback on some of these possible allowed improvements, and then come up with the recommended agreement terms, and lastly, next steps. So we started looking at this process earlier this year, where we first started with defining what that conservation area would look like, how it's delineated within the parcels that the city owns around the Birmingham Park area. Then in the summer, we conducted a property survey, we identified all those parcel lines, and started looking at where that delineation line for the conservation easement would be. We began coordinating with a land trust that will be the holder of the conservation easement. So it's a third party that holds that in perpetuity. And then this fall, the first step we took was to look at Old Bullpen Road right-of-way and officially abandon that within the conservation easement area. Legal reviewed the proposed agreement, and then we most recently discussed those terms that were part of the agreement on October 6th, and then solicited feedback from the Milton Equestrian Committee. Just to highlight what that proposed area looks like. Once again, it's approximately 185 acres, shown shaded green in this exhibit. Did want to point out we have current existing facility usage. The blue line that kind of separates this unshaded area is about 12 acres that's already used for the Public Works area, as well as Fire Station 43. The black line is the Old Bullpen Road right-of-way as it now exists. It doesn't run through the conservation easement any longer. It stops at where that begins. And so the remaining property that's not proposed as part of that easement is 22 acres. This is a summary of what was discussed on October 6th. The black were the kind of the bullet points that came out of that agreement with some potential uses or improvements. The red were the council direction that we got from that meeting, with the highlighted being what I wanted to bring back before you before we move ahead with the trust. And that is looking at data on existing and planned trail mileage, and then Milton Equestrian Committee feedback on the amenities. So this map shows the existing trail network, and those are the dashed colored lines. Those represents the current trail segments that are marked and existing today. It's a little over 5.5 miles of existing trail. The latest version of the Milton Trail blueprint that proposed some additional trails within this park are shown in the green, and these are currently not existing, but that could get the mileage from just over 5.5 up to 7 miles. So you'll notice one of those dips down into the 10 acres that's next to the Public Works building and the fire station. The brown line represents what's proposed as a conservation easement. So there could be some trail usage within that 10 acres for the current time being, but that is outside the conservation area. Another addition is connecting Old Bullpen Road parking lot at the end of Old Bullpen Road over to Birmingham Crossroads. So those were the main differences in the existing trails and then what's on the plan. Here's a summary of some of the feedback from the Equestrian Committee. They agreed with the natural character, the natural surfaces for trails, the trail width, keeping that minimal width that's needed for pedestrian and equestrian usage, They recommended no structures along the trails. And then for looking at trail mileage and any new trails or removal of existing trails or rerouting, they recommended that their committee, as well as the Milton Trails Advisory Committee, could work together on any changes for trails in the future. Then their feedback related to amenities. They did support the basic facilities like a new restroom, small pavilion, and gravel parking. They also agreed with you all that no dog park for this particular area. The only fencing that one of the members identified was maybe if we had an area that could serve as a holding area for horses within the park, but not to keep them there, but just to have it as a staging point if it was ever needed. The open riding fields near the existing pastures, they didn't recommend creating any new open spaces, just utilizing what's there, so no need to spell anything out related to riding areas. And for covered or fenced arenas, they didn't feel like Birmingham Park was really the place for a covered arena, but that there may be other properties that are better suited for this type of facility. So based on what we talked with you all about before, as well as the equestrian committee feedback, this is the recommended list of the allowed improvements that we'd like to work into the easement agreement. So first of all, for the trails, existing, new maintenance and operation of those, that we keep those to gravel or natural surface materials, minimal width, designed so they don't hinder the land's ability to support wildlife or native plants, so nothing to disturb those areas, and not in ways or quantity that would take away from the conservation value of the property. For some of the smaller structures and improvements, less than 250 square feet, anything that's existing, of course, like some of the kiosk or benches, they did think that there could be a need for a smaller pavilion near the parking that would be less than 250 square feet. So we did include that within the list of smaller improvements. And then a note that they would be placed thoughtfully, and again, not in so much quantity or location that would impact the conservation value. And we'll note too, the agreement does say that any improvements that are proposed will be run through the trust before they're actually installed or constructed. And finally, these are some of the larger structures or improvements that could be allowed. And first is the gravel parking lots, being able to maintain those, possibly expand some of them in the future, but at the same location where they currently exist. There may be a need for a paved or concrete parking space just for ADA accessibility to the restroom with utilities to support it. There are a couple existing barn structures on the property, so we want to highlight that those are allowed improvements on the property within the conservation easement area, and then adding open air pavilions or barn-like structures, or possibly gathering areas near the parking. So not along the trails, but at these designated parking areas only within the park. So next steps are to discuss these terms tonight, see if there's any other changes, modifications, additions that you all would like to make. Then the land trust will need to do some final field work just to verify the baseline conditions, and then the conservation easement will come before you for approval.
I have a comment. Generally speaking, very well done, and really appreciate the equestrian committee and the trails committee and everybody who's pitched in, because it's really coming together very nicely. On the 22 acres that will be protected for essentially city use, and that's pretty much land. So I would ask that, and I'm just comparing it to 10 acres that I have and how much we've got on 10 acres. So, that would be, I would think that a lot of that would not be necessary. When I know that it was floated that one day if they wanted to build a riding arena or stuff like that, Is that area appropriate for that kind of thing?
It could, from a site perspective, it could facilitate that. It's got separate access to Hickory Flat. So that could be a possibility on that 10 acres. But it's also, adjacent to the Public Works building and the fire station,
Yeah.
that there may be future need just for land to be able
If a fire
to.
truck pulls out, a horse just has to handle it. It's just the way it goes. So my request would be that if there is to be any cordoning off of the work area, that you only do it in what's needed and not take the whole 22 acres. And then, if 2/3 of it is not needed, just use it as needed and not if it's not needed. And I think that should be part of our conservation quid pro quo with the rest of what we're doing.
Okay.
Any other questions for Sarah? Good stuff, Sarah. It's moving along pretty fast. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you
Well
for the
done,
feedback.
Thank you.
Mayor. Thank you,
Thanks.
Mayor.
Thank you to everybody. That's good. So, all right. What else we got?
First presentation.
That's it. All right. First presentation. Sorry.
You don't-
Mayor, that first presentation item is consideration of an ordinance of the City of Milton to amend the Unified Development Code, Article 10, related to the Milton Trail Blueprint. It's agenda item number 25293. Mayor?
Okay. Do I have a motion on the first presentation item?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion, we approve agenda item number 25293.
Second.
All right. Have a motion from Councilmember Cookerly and a second from Councilmember Jacobus to approve the first presentation items. Waiting on Jan.
Got
Oh, I'm sorry. I was staring at this damn.
to do it gently.
Having a day.
All right, there we go. All right, that motion passes unanimously. Okay, with that, there is nothing else. No public hearing. Any council have anything to report on?
I'm going to clean stalls. Anybody want to help me?
That's it. Thank you all for coming. And with that, I'll have a motion to adjourn.
Mayor, can we do that electronically, please?
Sure.
Did we make a
Who
motion?
wants to make the motion?
I
Make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
A motion from Jacobus, second from Cookerly. All right, we are now adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sarah.